Hey, what's up, guys? Contrary Trader here. I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin, liquidity, order blocks, market maker plays, all that type of stuff. Okay, so let's get into it. Um, so let's see. Let's start off with our liquidation range. So we're at about 105.5 is the bottom of the liquidation range, and let's see, about 1400 is the top. Okay, so as you can see, if I zoom in a little bit here, earlier today, as usually happens over the weekend, a lot of liquidity and a lot of high leverage liquidations were built up over the weekend. You can see how thick this is here. Okay, so anytime you see that, you gotta expect a lot of volatility to be incoming. Okay, so we came up here and we actually took a large chunk of those liquidations. Um, I don't know, maybe some market makers were front running. Usually they don't do that until a little bit later. It seems like, the end of weekend move kind of started a little bit early today, but either way, they just went ahead and they took all of those 200x liquidations. Okay, so what are our ranges here? Our immediate ranges are, well, we took a big chunk, but let's see what's left over here. Okay, so up above, the immediate liquidations we're dealing with right now is from 110 800 to 111 650. Okay, so we not only took all of the short 200x liquidations, the red ones, but there was a gap here, and we actually pushed right up through the gap, and we right on the edge of the 100x liquidations. We just started taking them. There's a couple 200x thrown in there, but it's mostly 100x. This is another very dense cluster. Um, I don't know. We're gonna have to see if we go all the way through this or if we go part of the way through this. But either way, guys, I would not be longing right now. I would not be longing right now, because as soon as we take this cluster or even part of this cluster of 100x shorts, we're probably going to reverse, because you have to realize this down here, that is a big red target. Okay, the market maker, they've been, see this big cluster here. They have been inducing and building up this cluster for some time now. For some time now. And they're not going to leave it there. They're not just going to send it from here. You have to look at the market in terms of liquidity and market maker motivation. Okay? So, the market maker was highly motivated to take, as always, these 200x shorts. If there's a big cluster of 200x, the red lines, those shorts, they want to liquidate those first. So back here, there were two big targets because it was almost equal liquidity, but on the lower side it was a little thicker. But you got to usually expect that whichever liquidity that they take first is probably not going to be the direction that they're going to move it in. Okay, we call that the fake out or the induction move or liquidity grab. It can be any of those, all of those. But since we are coming into the weekly open, taking a big chunk of the short liquidations, you would expect us to then, overnight tonight, tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow morning, inflict max pain and come down and take this big chunk of longs. They're really going to try to inflict max pain, because at some point here they're going to send it back up. And when they do that, they want to have wrecked all of the longs, and they also want to have collected all their orders so they could place a very large order themselves at, I don't know, 107, 106, 105. Wick down there and place a large ass order after they've collected everyone's orders, after they've liquidated all the longs and freed up the order book. So I actually mentioned yesterday that there was a good probability of this. It would come up first, take the shorts, before coming down into Monday for some max pain wrecking the longs. We also do have this cluster up here of 50x shorts. It's from about 13,200 to 1,500. If the market maker really wants to inflict max pain, they'll take those. Usually not all of them. Usually part of it, because they, like I've said before, they need to leave some of the liquidity. They don't want to bounce into liquidity that's too thin, because they're not going to have the orders and the liquidity to make a good reversal for their reversal they need to make. So usually they will not take all of the liquidity. Right now, look, what's going on right now. We can see that, I don't know, are we losing a little bit of momentum as we're hitting the 100x? It looks like we're still pumping. It looks like there's a good chance we're going to take a good chunk of these. You know, I would say to maybe 11.5, 11.4, 11.3, somewhere there. If we get a good push and a wick up into... I really would not expect the market maker right now to clear this gap, this liquidity gap, and come up and take the 50x. Although they might, if they really want to clear the liquidity to the upside. But what you really got to look at is you got to look at this in terms of like a larger play. This is chess, you know what I mean? This isn't checkers. So, and they never usually move it in one direction. So if they're moving it up now and they're taking the shorts, depending on how much they take of the shorts, it's almost like they're clearing the way, because the play would be to come up, take the shorts, okay? Taking the shorts induces more longs, and they already have a lot of longs down here, okay? High leverage. But it induces even more longs if they come up here and they take the shorts. Then they reverse it, okay? They come back down here, they take all of the longs they just induced, and the longs that were already there, okay? And there's a shitload of them. There's going to be like another, what, I don't know, $1 billion in liquidations, maybe more, maybe 2 billion, maybe $500 million. It's gonna be a fucking lot, though. Excuse my language. It's gonna be a lot. And so in doing that, then they would wreck all of the longs, okay? Come down to 106, 107, 106, 105, maybe just wick down there. We do also have a cluster of 50x longs. It's like down to 106.5. So I really wouldn't even take, I wouldn't even expect us to come down to 105. I would expect us to definitely probably wick below 107, because that's the previous low, and fake everybody out and take the liquidity and make them very bearish and inflict max pain, finally get the sentiment down to extreme fear. But they, like I said before, they usually don't like to completely take all the liquidity, or even necessarily go down into the 50x liquidity. Even though they do sometimes do that. They don't want to take all of it, because if they take all the liquidity, they're just going to fall out of the range. They're not going to have liquidity to fill their big reversal order, which is what they need, which is that big wick that you see. That's their big reversal order. That's them basically reversing the liquidity, taking all the liquidity that they just grabbed and putting it back into the market in the form of a big buy order. You know? So anyway, yeah, I would. That's what I would expect. I would expect them to finish wrecking the shorts here as much as they feel appropriate. That clears the way above for them to make a big move. Then they wreck the longs. Okay, and that takes out all the longs, so nobody can make money off of their big buy that they're going to make, their big wick, except for the really smart money. And then they send it back up into the into the range here. So, okay, guys, those are the plays that I'm looking at. Current targets. Let's see, 111.7 for the immediate if they decide to take all 100x or most of the 100x shorts. 108.5, 108.6 to the downside for all of the 200x longs, and then 107.5 for the 100x longs. And then to just, complete the liquidity profile, 105.5 is the 50x if they, decide to take all the liquidity to the downside. See what's going on right now. We are still just, notice how we're just chilling, like right on the edge of the 100x. See how we were kind of losing momentum a little bit? That's because the market makers have taken all the 200x and they don't have as much incentive. Now their incentive and their target is sitting down here. Because see all the bright red lines, that's what they want. They want all the bright red lines. And they took all the bright red lines from up here, so now a bunch of the market makers, some of the market makers are like, hey guys, we got to go up and take all the 100x too. We want that liquidity, okay? Putting on the market maker hat. And then some of the other market makers are like, no, bro, we took all the 200x. Look how much 200x are below us now. We got to go down. Okay, it's time for us to go down and take that. Maybe we want a front runner. We want to front run that the long liquidations. They're saying, and it's kind of a battle. That's the battle between the bears and the bulls, really. Not really very much based on market sentiment. That's just the fuel for the liquidity for the market makers that move it around. It's really just some market makers are saying, hey, we want to go up and take the rest of this liquidity. And then the other market makers are like, no, bro, look at how much 200x longs are below. That's worth twice as much. Let's go back down there. And that's like, the real battle that happens between the bulls and the bears is the market makers trying to decide and have consensus on their liquidity targets. That's what's going on. Okay. But yeah, I would not be going long right now. You could go short, I guess, if you really want to. You could maybe scalp out a little scalp short from maybe 110, maybe 111 to 112. You can maybe take a short from there down to 108, 107, 106. I mean, that if you really wanted to scalp anything, that would be the play. Look for some kind of SPF, a little SPF up here, or some kind of failed auction, and then for us to start climbing back down. If we start climbing back down towards these red lines, or if we get close to this cluster here, that's danger, Will Robinson. You don't want to be in a long then at all in any way, shape, or form, because there's a big liquidation wick coming. Yeah, I wouldn't be going long right now. If anything, a small scalp short. If you look for confirmation for entries. Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. This is just, my opinion on the markets, entertainment purposes, opinion purposes, whatever you want to say. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at here, guys. I'm personally waiting for us to come back down and take all these longs, because I would like to place some longs and some buy orders. And also, I'm going to talk real quick about my trading here. I'm not going to show my individual trades or anything like that, but yeah, I'm right now at $1,012.58, as you can see. This goes up a lot. It was just at 1,200. I just took a little over 200 out and took some profit out. I left it at about 990, so I'm up about $22 right now. But yeah, my strategy, I'm not going to talk about specifics of my strategy, but yeah, my strategy prints. My strategy prints, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on how my account's doing and everything like that. But yeah, my actual trading strategy, it's proprietary, but I can kind of clue you guys in just by talking about liquidity. Obviously, my strategy involves liquidity. All right, let's see if we do have. I didn't talk about the order blocks here. We have a bullish order block at 110 and $70. There's a bullish order block. There's another one at 110 and $240. Those are the ones we're working with right now. We still don't have any bearish order blocks up here yet, even though We do look like we're moving momentum and reversing a bit. No bear sell blocks yet. No bear sell walls yet. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here, guys. Strategy is doing well. Hopefully, maybe you could, design your own strategy involving liquidity and liquidations and order blocks and stuff like that. Smart money type concepts, even though I'm not like a smart money trader or an ICT trader. It's just my own techniques that I've combined and, my observations of the market. So, yeah, strategy's doing well. I'm waiting to take this upside liquidity and then have another big liquidation event, take all these longs, and then hopefully place some big buy orders for the next big leg up in the market towards all-time high. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. Just keep printing, guys. Keep your strategies and profits. Stick with your strategies. Don't get shaken out. Use appropriate leverage or appropriate risk. Manage your positions. And keep printing, guys. Keep printing. Peace.